Sometimes I go, man, that didn't feel that good. I go, woo. So, I mean, if you don't have something to measure that time and that data, where are you going in that journey? You're not. You're just kind of spinning your wheels.
Well, that's, I'm just finishing up a $17 million new facility in Savannah, Georgia right now. And when I built this thing, it's got all of our manufacturing in it. We're putting the machines in right now. They're wiring them and putting air to them right now. We should be firing them up next week, get back in production. But in that facility, I wanted to cater to people that need training. So we spent a lot of money. We put 10 indoor bays that are 33 yards, and we call them 25, but they're actually 33. So we've got 10 indoor bays. We've got 5 that are all the special gizmos. They turn and they retreat. You can program them. There's 5 standard bays. We've got a retail spot, and we've got a coffee shop, cafe, so you can get a breakfast and lunch. And I'm really trying to create an atmosphere where very very female friendly. Like the whole coffee shop restaurant is designed specifically. When I sat down with my design team, I said, remove all your testosterone and inject yourself with estrogen. When you walk into this cafe, I want a woman to feel connected, and this is her spot. The colors, the furniture, the lights, everything. I mean, I designed this thing with this one woman in mind. Her name is Kendra. She's a real person. She's a friend of mine's wife, and she is your clientele. She's 30s or 40s. She drives a white SUV. She's got 3 kids. She's got 2 dogs. She's married to a banker. They live on the water. You know, that is that family that I know that if I make Kendra happy, she can get a cup of coffee. She can build some curiosity about the guns.
Yeah.
If you can get Kendra there, you can get John there.
That's right.
And then John can go over and spend a couple dollars on the range, and then she'll get curious and want to. And then it'll lead to, well, they're giving free firearm safety training for kids. Now I can bring my 3 kids here and teach them to be responsible gun owners, Pro 2A. Get some coffee and a sandwich and Pro 2A, and that's the winning recipe. And if this is successful, I might get out of the manufacturing game and just go into building these ranges around the Southeast is pretty gun friendly.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Alabama. There might be multiple grounds and rounds.
Yeah. Is that what you're calling it?
Oh, I love that.
My 12,
Dude.
well, she's 13 now. We got a great logo, but it's called Grounds and Rounds, and she named it.
Yep.
And we really just want to build that culture, the culture that you and I grew up. I grew up in a rod and gun club.
Yep.
But it was all dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to build that same culture, that same feel, so that we can, my manufacturing company will go on and it'll live in history, and everybody will recognize it. But if I'm not building a customer base, if I'm not helping people be successful and want to be part of the gun industry, they're not going to be. And pretty soon the NRA, people like the NRA is going to dry up because we're not building the next generation of shooters and Pro 2A people.
I agree.
So that is my goal in life of trying to give back at this stage in my life. Now I'm in a position where I can give back and I can build a culture that you guys would appreciate.
Yeah.
No, and that's awesome because who else is out there? Let's be an honest broker. One thing I say about this industry, innovating-wise, we don't do a very good job. Education-wise, we don't do a very good job. Getting the next generation on board, we don't do a good job. So for you to sit there, have a facility, family-friendly, bring kids in, educate them on gun safety, I mean, that is the next generation. That is the next step of innovating in this industry because, like you said, we're all going to hit a certain lifespan, life point, start fizzling. If you haven't prepped that next generation, you haven't educated them, you haven't taught them what's going on, it's a done deal. So,
well,
brother, that is awesome.
What we also need, we each need to, this industry, the part that I don't like, the reason I don't like going to SHOT Show, I don't like going to NRA, I don't like going to all these shows, I do like going to see my friends.
Yeah.
My industry friends that are just like me. What I don't like about this industry is that they're so quick to tear each other down. Oh
God.
Hogg's the presentation, his drill sucks.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
Yeah.
The standards are too high, or it's too hard, or it's not practical.
Yeah.
They just, if we could get those people off Instagram, and if they could follow, and it took me a long time. I got rid of Facebook I only follow about 150 people on Instagram, and they're all motivational, rich, wealthy people who are intelligent that I can learn lessons and I can bring it back to my team. That's the only, I don't look at boobs and butts and all that other stuff. And if we could get rid of that desire to prove that I'm cooler or better looking or faster than you, just like, hey, great drill, make positive comments on social media. Don't make anything derogatory. Even if you try and think you're being cute or funny, at some point it leads to creating anxiety in other people. It's more of this high school bully shit. Get rid of it. Just be friendly. If you don't like his product, don't say shit.
Yeah.
Just go spend your money where you want to spend your money. If you don't like the product, don't buy it.
Right. Exactly.
And you don't have to say shit about it.
No.
You can promote what you like.
Yep.
Just don't demote what you don't like.
And why should you? Right? I mean, now, the one thing I will say, like one thing I do is that we'll say at some of our classes, hey, from my experience with product X, it hasn't worked. Right? This is my experience. Hey, this failed, that failed. There's some people out there, I honestly think they're 3D printing some of their plate screws because you're seeing at that plate slide line a clean shear. And I'm not super screw savvy. When you look at it, it almost looks porous, right? Just go, hey, man, be aware. When you're buying your screws, get quality screws. Yeah. So whether it's coming to C&H and whatever it is, but then you have some guys that are getting screws that are too long. So now they're going and now they're having gun issues, right? And a lot of it stems from that gun shop expert trying to talk to the consumer. Hey, here's this. You go, hey, now my gun's not running. Now my plates are falling off. Now this, that drama. And you just try to let, your students know, be aware. This is what I've seen. There's nothing worse than watch a student online. All of a sudden, there goes his optic. Choof.
Yeah.
And it's a clean shear, man. It's like, oof.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I think that a majority of the clean shear issues are, here's what I see. We make a screw. I'll give you one example. The M3 by 6 millimeter long screw that holds the plate on the Glock MOS. It's an M3 screw. And again, this study in screws depends on what material it's made out of, what it's going into, how much you can torque it. An M3 screw on a Glock MOS should be torqued to 12 inch-pounds, not more than 15, and you're good. But then you got to use Loctite. And the history of guns, if you go back in time, you'll notice that there has not been a whole lot of fasteners used on pistols forever. Almost, if you go back to the old Colts, about the only screws on them were the screws that held the grip panels on them. That was it. Everything else was pinned or welded or forged together. They're not coming apart.
Yeah.
Why? Because they found out early on that screws come out, under heavy recoil and vibration, screws have a tendency to come out. So, fast forward today, a Glock has no screws in it on purpose, very reliable, and now you put an optic on there where you're adding weight, and now you're adding 4 screws. There's more screws on that pistol than all Glock pistols, millions of pistols put together. And then typical gun guy. If he even reads the instructions, well, and I'm one of those guys too.
Oh, yeah.
But they torque it, and when you over torque a screw, so that M3 screw that goes into your slide through your plate into your slide, 12 pounds, not more than 15. 15's okay, but when you go to 20, 24, it'll survive. It's not gonna. You might strip out the head, but what you're doing is you're just pulling that screw apart, putting it under a huge tension. And if you've ever seen construction where they make light poles, they take rebar and they just pull the shit out of them. And then they pour concrete in it and they let it set. And now that thing is a super tension and it makes the concrete stronger. But it doesn't make a screw stronger. So you torque that thing down to 20, it'll sit there. When you put that under stress and then you put a shear force in it, that's when they break off. So I can almost guarantee you that it might not, there could be some material issues with this screw, but more often than not, they've over-torqued them. They didn't strip them out. And now there's a lot of tension here, and then you put a shear on it, and that's when they snap completely off.
Okay.
So it's over torquing. And so this is what in customer service, when I used to do customer service, somebody like, oh, my screws broke off. I'm like, oh, well, what did you torque them to? Oh, what the directions said, 12 inch-pounds. I said, send me a picture of your slide with the broken screws. I want to see it. And put the torque wrench that you used in the background so I can just see what model. Now, I didn't really want to. I just wanted to see if they even had one.
Nope.
And you know how many people sent me one?
0.
About a couple.
Okay.
Sometimes they'd put that old wheeler that had the big knob on the top.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's close, but okay. Then I'll replace. We'll fix it.
It's something better than nothing.
But, but what happens is they torque it by hand. They're like, oh, that.
Give it a little bit. Yeah, a little bit more.
If 15's good, 20's probably better.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, 20's not better.
Yeah.
So that's my story on screws. But this is why we're trying to get away from. And with the new, going back to the AOS cut, because there's a dovetail, you put the back of the optic down into this dovetail and you set the front down and then you screw it down. It takes a lot of that shear force off. Now the screws are just sucking the optic down to the slide and it takes a lot of that shear force off. I think that's going to be. I hope that's revolutionary, and I hope that a lot of different manufacturers start going to the AOS cut. One, because we're the exclusive manufacturer of the plates, and we're making an optic that's going to fit right on there. You're not going to need a plate.
Yeah.
We're doing something else that's going to go in a gun store at some point that will really help the common user and the. So here's another pain point: how many different models of plates are there?
A gazillion.
Yeah, there's a gazillion.
Yeah.
So I think for the Glock MOS series, between the little one and the big one, there's about 60 or 70 different models. So every different model, combine that with all the different optic footprints. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a store owner, you go into your local, Ace Hardware that's got a little gun counter. They're not even remotely going to have the plate that you want unless it's a Glock MOS for an RMR. They might have that one. They're not going to have the one for the DPP or the name your other optic du jour. So we really want to help that until the optics become proliferated that don't require a plate. We're going to put a piece of technology in there so that a gun store doesn't have to stock hundreds of plates that never get sold. So when I buy plates from C&H, put them on my shelf, that's capital that is sitting on the shelf, not making any money.
Yep.
Okay? Now, what if I could go into a gun store and say, listen, I'm going to put something in your gun store that you can select. Here's the pistol that I have. Here's the optic that I have. And over here, this is a recipe. You can pick this plate or this plate. That's it. Now, the gun store doesn't have it, but he says, buy now. It'll be to his house the next day. The gun store owner gets paid because the kiosk or whatever this thing is in his store.
Right.
Ships directly from me because I'm not paying I'm not giving this dealer his 20, 25, or 30 points on the product because he's not buying it. He doesn't have to buy it.
Yep.
But he might be making 5 or 10 or 15 points by just using this thing. He gets paid.
Yeah.
Customer gets the product tomorrow, so it's Amazon-ish.
Yeah.
And I saved enough money by not giving the dealer 20 or 30 points that I can overnight it to you. You can have it the next day so it feels like Amazon. Everybody wants to be like Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Or that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And that's absolutely ingenious, right? So who else, and this is what I like as far as, hearing stories like this, who else is innovating like that in the market? Because like you said, that's just capital up there hoping for the sale.
Yes.
You don't know what's going to be there.
You know what the other big one is?
What's that?
Holsters.
Yep.
Holy shit, how many, for me, I'm right-handed sometimes I'm left-handed. Sometimes I'm appendix carry. Sometimes I'm, I think it's probably, excuse my French, it's kind of gay, but sometimes I wear a fanny pack.
Yeah.
Because I can get a bunch of shit in there.
Sure.
I can get a full-size pistol in there.
Oh, yeah.
With an extra mag and a light, all that stuff that you're supposed to carry that I don't. I like my phone or my wallet and a knife.
Right.
And sometimes when I'm in Richmond Hill, Georgia, there is no reason for me to have there is a reason for me to have a pistol. But sometimes I go to work in gym shorts and I'm like, where am I going to put this thing?
Yeah.
So I put my fanny pack on.
Yeah.
I come to big cities like this, I got my fanny pack. So holsters is just as complex, if not more complex.
Yeah.
Because now I got a Glock 19 with X whatever light with whatever optic, and I want to carry appendix. Well, how many there's a bunch of, I want to carry outside the waistband on the right side. So if we're going to set the standard that for optics, plates, holsters, and a few other things, you should be able to go to maybe it's a kiosk, like the silencer shop kiosk.
Yeah.
You say, I got this gun, I got this light, I got this optic. What can I get? Well, here's your recipe of what you can get. These are the approved vendors that we have. You click these buttons, and it'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you okay with having it tomorrow?
I would be.
I would be.
Because now it's just a pain in the butt.
Knowing, and here's the other thing, knowing that you're getting what you want. Because how many times that should work. We've all heard that one before, right? Now you buy something from the gun shop and you got to do some filing or widgeting.
Right.
Now I'm just wasting more time. Or then you opt to go, let me actually go to the slide and do some zigging there. Now I'm all jacked everything up. For what? It should work. So in that case, you know for a fact, hey, man, I'm getting exactly what I need tomorrow. Cool. So I'm probably not doing anything today anyway or need it today. Get the right product and then off you go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic.
It's just reducing the pain points for the customer, and that's what I see every day. I listen to the customer service phone calls, and God, the people are so pissed because they go on our website, and we've spent, I'm not even joking, hundreds of thousands of dollars on our website to make it as simple as possible for the lowest common denominator person to say, I have this pistol and I have this optic, and this is the plate that I want. And sometimes they get the wrong one.
Yeah.
When not everybody's as knowledgeable as we are on what exact model we have. And then there are companies who have changed their optic cuts as often as I change my underwear.
Yeah.
That is frustrating for me as a business owner to try and serve that customer base because it's a very popular brand, and I'm like, these customers are pulling their hair out because they don't know if does their rear sight come off when I take the cover plate off? Does it stay on there? Is it a X model? Is it a Y model? Is it a Z model? And different lengths and different tolerances. And so that is where I wish some manufacturers would pay more attention to. This is what Glock did. This is what HK did.
Yeah.
We made a great design at the very beginning, and we stuck with it. And that helps the customer not be frustrated with.
But that goes back to what you were saying earlier, Buck, is like, how do we, as the industry, work together? So I got it. If there's a need to make a change, I don't know, they just changing to change because I said, hey, we've got something different. But if the industry just all works together, not as cutthroaty, and go, hey, guys, we're looking to change this because of whatever. Okay, cool. At least the customer knows, and we can make some things happen.
Well, what you're talking about is collaboration. Set your ego aside and collaborate. I have the fortune of being just down the road from Daniel Defense. I know Marty and Sandy. I know Rob, who's the new CEO, and we talk at a very high level every week or every couple weeks. But my staff doesn't talk to their staff. And they don't, Rob and I took Rob, the president of Daniel Defense, I took him to the racetrack and I took a couple of my race cars out there and I let him drive one for the weekend. We had a great weekend together, just bullshitting, driving fast and having fun. We're like, and then I said something, I'm like, hey, I saw your new ad came out for that new pistol you guys got, and it's got such and such an optic. We're just down the road, our marketing team, our marketing team should collaborate. So he went back to work, I went back to work. And I was like, why are you guys not talking to Daniel Fence, and why are you guys not talking to C&H? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, we're like 10 miles apart.
Yeah.
And so if we're 10 miles apart and we're not talking, what about me and Kimber?
Yeah.
Or me and somebody else? The next generation of people needs to learn how to collaborate. Like, I should be able to talk to Holosun and Trijicon, and at least we know what's going on, and maybe we can promote legislation, we can promote agendas, we can guide people to right decisions, or we don't.
Yeah.
I'm open and receptive to collaboration. I don't think everybody else is.
Yeah.
Brother, we're all about it, because to me, that's what makes everyone successful. And we get too much in this industry where I care about my bubble, I care about me, I don't care about the bigger picture. And if we, do our collaborations, man, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just look at the NRA, for example. They didn't have to collaborate with the single podcaster out here. They did. Like, hey, man, how do we start getting that? And they don't even want the NRA promoters. Just how do we promote more 2A stuff out there to make people aware of what's going on and just work it that way. Get that good grassroots education going and start building, the next group of shooters.
Well, people are going to learn a hell of a lot more listening to your podcast and podcasts like these than they are from Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, this is when I'm talking to you and you air this, my reputation's on the line just like your reputation.
Sure.
Anything I say on this podcast is concrete. It's good.
Right.
It's valid.
Yeah.
Now, how many people on Instagram get on there and post some stuff and, this is my favorite optic? Well, you're an influencer, so I got a question. Is this your favorite optic because you got a paycheck in the mail, or
100%.
you got some favors, or is this? I mean, if I say anything, I'm not afraid. I used to shoot for Federal. I used to shoot for Hornady. I used to shoot for MDT. I mean, I helped them design a chassis. I've shot for a bunch of people, and I still promote their stuff. But not everybody. And I stand behind those brands. I shot for those brands until I couldn't shoot for those brands, or I didn't want to shoot for, or I just didn't want to shoot anymore at all.
Yeah.
But how many people are doing it for the right reasons? I mean, I didn't want to be a sponsored PRS shooter because I wanted to be a PRS shooter. People came to me because I was successful and I had a good attitude, and I told people the truth.
Yeah.
I go out on the PRS now, and I don't hardly know anybody, and there's people out talking about these features of things that just don't matter, or I know that they're getting paid to talk about these features,
right.
and then you got to question, are they really good features, or are they big windows?
Yeah.
They're just big windows.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, Buck, you hit the nail on the head, brother. I mean, I can't agree with you more. And really, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. I mean, I think we could still go on.
Oh, dude.
For hours.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You're always welcome back on. Whenever you got something, hey, if you got some new stuff. And really, I want to hear more as far as your shops go.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I think what we need to do, if you're open to it, not sure when the shop's going to be open, but love to come down, do a podcast in the coffee shop. We'll get the video going as well, and then boom, let's go roll to the range, man.
We're going to do we're going to do a soft opening in the next month or so on the coffee shop and the pro shop.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't. I've got everything planned out to the nth degree, except for a few outlets and switches that didn't go where they wanted to. And then I figured out when we got the gun range going, and then I look around at all these fancy cabinets. I'm like, how much inventory do we have in stock right now to put in these gun cabinets? And I was like, wow, we need a lot of stuff. And then I went on to like RSR and a few other websites. And I'm like, I need some Glocks, I need some Smith & Wesson, I need some Alters, I need this. I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that I don't have right now after spending a bunch of money on the facility. So it's going to be a little bit. But I will end on this. I was at the Citadel teaching at the School of Business, not teaching, lecturing at the School of Business a month ago for the combat shooting team. And they had a bunch of other students there. And one student says, now that you're successful in life, you're in this elevated position, what's the one thing you do different in life? And I thought for a second, he caught me off guard because I didn't think that this question would come up, and I've never really thought about it. And I went into telling this story. I got back from Africa. My last trip was last November. I went elephant hunting. I was lucky enough to get 2, and I tied one on. Now, if you like beer and you like bourbon and you like just partying, South Africa or Namibia, that's a great place. A lot of German dudes. And these jokers start drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, hey, stay hydrated. I'm like, well, where's the water? No, there's a cooler full of beer. Stay hydrated. I'm like, oh, my God. So it's not my first rodeo in South Africa or Namibia, and I tied one on. I came home, and I told my wife, I was like, listen, I just had 2 weeks of a lot of fun, a lot of hiking. I mean, I humped a lot. It was hot. I stayed really hydrated. And I came home and I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I'm not going to drink another drop of alcohol, hopefully, in the rest of my life. And I'll tell you this: I'm not promoting anybody to stop drinking. But what I'll tell you is, if you want to operate at the highest level, now you run the teams, and I worked with a lot of great guys in my time, and it was just social norm that we'd do an exercise and we'd go out and just tie one on. And we'd drag our ass back into the team room the next day, and we're like, oh, let's go. And like, oh man, I don't want to do shit. I want to go. Who wants to do the Oak course today and throw up?
Right. And
I found that now that I run 7 different businesses, and I have to be sharp. I have to be on all the time. And if I'm not on, I'm disconnected. I'm on the golf course, and F you. I'm not talking to anybody. But when you got to be on that much, and you got to be sharp, your mental acuity, there's no amount of supplements or hydration or any of that stuff that you can take. But what has happened for me in the last 6 months of not drinking, I've never been hungover in 6 months. I've not said anything at a function that I had to apologize the next day for, because I'm pretty famous for that. And we'll tie one on, and I'll say some spicy stuff.
Yeah.
I've never had a day when I didn't want to get out of bed and just go back, just get after it.
Yeah.
And in the last 6 months, I think I've stumbled onto something that's better than any nootropic, any energy drink, any pill, any supplement, anything. It was just cutting out that one little thing. And my body is slowly getting back into the shape when I was a young man.
Yep.
I feel better. And now that allows me to make all these intelligent decisions that I need to make so that I can keep my employees happy, I can keep my customers happy, I can keep the industry thriving. I wouldn't be doing as good if I hadn't made that decision 6 months ago. And I wish I would have made it 30 years ago. I wish somebody would have told me, if you're going to be a smart guy one day, because I wasn't then. And I made that change, and I
congratulations on that.
I mean, that's positive sound advice.
Yeah.
So it's a one piece of advice that I would give anybody. If you want to be super sharp all the time, you got to cut some of these bad habits out.
Awesome, brother.
Well,
appreciate you being on the show, man.
Dude, anytime.
We need to get you back, because I'm sure there's a lot more
there's some
life lessons we can share.
Wait until you hear some of the stuff that we're working on. It's pretty crazy.
Awesome, brother. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Good.
For the rest of you guys, don't forget, train hard, stay safe, and we'll see you on the range.
Boom.